Greetings, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Pammy Out Loud. I'm your host, Pamela Walsh, and this is a show about making connections and finding community. And one of the biggest connections and community that I have discovered in the last couple of years has been MahJong. It has brought so much to my life, a new interest that engages my brain, but more than that, a huge community of friends that are smart, interesting, vibrant, fun people that I would have never met, I don't think, in any other way in my life except through MahJong. You know, MahJong invites people to come to the table, whatever your background is, and just enjoy a game that is storied in rich history and beautiful art. And today I am joined by one of my friends who is a MahJong tile collector. His name is Rod Limke. He is from Colorado Springs, one of the first people I met in the MahJong community in Colorado Springs. So welcome, Rod. I'm so glad to have you on my show.
Thank you, Pamela. It's good to be with you.
Yes, thank you, thank you. So Rod and I met actually because I was desperately seeking MahJong players, and I found a little local non-alcoholic bar in old Colorado City called Gratitude Bar, and they let me host an event there, and I just put it out on the Colorado MahJong Book Facebook group and said, hey, anybody want to come? And that is where, well, actually, I'd seen you once before, I think, but I'd met you for the first time there at Gratitude that day.
I think maybe we had met at a tournament before.
Yeah, I think maybe the tournament that Abby hosted downtown, maybe in Colorado Springs. Yeah. So we met and we started playing, and I'll never forget this because I was very new to MahJong, but I'm like most things, when I get into it, I'm all in and I want all the accessories. I want lots of stuff. And I was sitting there playing with Rod, and I'm like, well, I really like tiles, and I have quite a few sets, I say. And he says, oh, how many do you have? And I'm like, I have 5 sets. And he goes, oh, I'm a bit of a collector myself. And I go, oh, really? How many do you have? And he said, oh, a little over 300.
Yeah, it's bad.
And I went, oh, okay, I think I'm going to be quiet now. So you have quite a collection. How long have you been playing MahJong, Rod?
I've been playing for I want to say 26 years now.
And how did you come to it?
A good friend of mine kept trying to invite me to come and learn how to play. Her mother had taught her, and then she was teaching other people in the community when I lived in Oklahoma City. And I thought, well, no, I really don't. I mean, being with a bunch of carpool moms, sorry to say, did not sound like a good afternoon to me. But I went and I helped deliver a birthday present when they were playing MahJong. And they asked me to stay for lunch, and I watched them play, and then they slowly started teaching me. And so I went back the next week, and I was hooked from there on out. It's become an obsession.
Yeah. And so 26 years ago, that would have been like the late 1990s, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And so when did you start collecting? Was that an immediate thing, or where did that come from?
Well, of course, I thought, well, I want a MahJong set, not knowing that there were all different kinds of MahJong sets, all different countries that played in different ways. I just thought it was one game. So I found a small bone and bamboo set that I thought, oh, this is the coolest thing. Well, it had 144 tiles. It didn't have enough for jokers. So in my head, I'm like, well, it'll be easy to find some more tiles because I'd seen them online. eBay, Etsy, places like that. And then I realized that, especially when it comes to bone and bamboo tiles, they are all different thicknesses, sizes. And so, long story short, 1.5 years later, I finally completed that set.
Wow.
But in the meantime, I had already bought maybe 6 or 7 other sets.
Wow.
While I'm trying to complete that one. So that's how I dove into it.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know MahJong, and like there is, I think I read, I might be wrong on this, like something like 142 different variations of MahJong. I mean, all the There's New Zealand mahjong and there's Japanese mahjong. All I think every country has a version.
Yeah, very true. I forget the name of the book off the top of my head, but the author wrote, and it's so true, is there are as many different ways to play mahjong as there are households that play it.
Wow.
So one of the women in Oklahoma City that I played with for a while, she was from Taiwan, and she didn't play when she was young. She didn't play with her family, but then she learned in college. So in college, she learned what was called 13 tile mahjong, and her father played 14 tile. So they're just in that family. You had two different versions.
I have heard about 14 tile. That's like you discard first or something like that. Is that like apparently it's common in Florida? I have heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that. I have never played that way, so I really couldn't answer questions about it.
Yeah. So Rod and I play mahjong, the American mahjong style, according to the National Mahjong League rules, which requires 152 tiles,
Correct.
And then the Asian version is 144. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just depends. Not all Asian countries, but it's usually 144 tiles. In Ricci, they have other tiles because they play a different way. So it just depends.
So, and the main difference the jokers? Is that what it is? That 144 is without jokers, and then it goes up to 152 with jokers?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I think we're the Americans, the only ones that play with jokers.
Okay. And so the older sets that you get frequently don't have like what year would you say? When did that start?
Oh, Lord, I should have done a little research before this. The actual jokers didn't start in the United States, I want to say, until the 60s.
Oh, that long?
Yeah, that long.
Wow.
It was just Asian style with 144. And then some of the companies started adding more flower tiles, which were used as jokers.
Okay.
In their hands, they played with a lot more flower tiles.
Okay.
And then slowly one company would introduce like 2 joker tiles, and then it slowly was introduced and the game changed. It's ever evolving.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that. Do you think that, okay, so then the other question I had is also, most American sets are sold with 2 sets of flowers. Like there's an 8 set, you need 8 flowers to play a mahjong, but a lot of the American sets come with 2 complete sets of flowers. What's the story behind that?
It's because Asians play usually the 2 sets are flower tiles, and then there's another set that are season tiles.
Okay.
And so depending on the version that you play, you'll use either all of those or only just the flower tiles.
Got it. Okay. And so so you started collecting right off the bat, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And how many sets would you say you have now, if you were to give us a rough estimate?
Ballpark, maybe 335, 340, something like that. And that's everything from card decks that are mahjong sets to high-end to ivory sets, bone and bamboo, bone and ebony, bakelite, everything. So
interesting. Now the bakelite, I'm really interested in bakelite. That was because I don't have a set of bakelite yet, and that was more common about this. Is that the 60s? Like, is that when bakelite was?
No, it would be more like the 30s and 40s.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah. Bakelite is the first quote unquote plastic that they came out with, but it wasn't from petroleum products. It was from plant products. So it's not a stable plastic.
Is that why they're always yellow?
Well, majority of them are yellow. There are black. There's also red, but because they're not stable, they react to heat. They react to exposure to moisture, to gases, that type of thing. So you can find a bakelite mahjong set, and it can be pristine, or every tile in there can almost look different, lighter, darker, but they could all be from the same set. It's just what they've been exposed to.
Oh, that's interesting. So the first mahjong tiles were made out of what?
Well, the the game first started as like a card game.
Okay.
So they used paper cards, and then it went to
Was that in China? Like when it was in China you're talking about?
yeah.
Okay.
There's all kinds of stories about when mahjong actually got started. They talk about Confucius and all that kind of stuff. Really, the first time that it was really talked about was the late 1800s.
Okay.
It was, where it came up in stories or articles and newspapers and things like that. But yeah, the first ones would have been wood or bamboo.
Okay.
And then bone and bamboo, and it just evolved from there.
And and then you said ivory. There's some of ivory. That's probably,
Right.
is that considered like no good anymore because of its ivory is considered,
Well, there's not any
market.
you don't produce ivory sets anymore because
Okay.
it's illegal. Well,
Okay.
at least in our country it is. There are sets that were produced back in the 60s when it was still legal.
Got it.
So
Have some ivory sets?
I have 3 or
Of course you do. Of course you do.
yeah, it's really hard for me. I mean, ivory's it feels good in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
But also the ones that are bone and bamboo feel just as good.
Mm-hmm. I got a set of bone and bamboo off of eBay. I didn't even know what I was doing. I think I've showed them to you, and it is so fun to have. I think they said mine was from the 1920s, and then they had matched up some jokers to go with them. Found other tiles, and it's just there. It's really, I don't know. There's something that's makes you feel so connected to the history of the game to be playing with tiles like those.
Oh yeah, I would definitely agree. And the bone and bamboo, those are some of my favorite sets.
And I learned from somebody that the bone is not infrequently is cow bone actually.
Correct. Yeah, bovine.
Did not know that. Yeah.
Yeah, at the time when they started making them, the companies here, well, when mahjong took off here in the United States, they started making tiles and then sending them over. And then companies here would put them in the decorative boxes, things like that. Well, the game became so popular that at one point in the cattle yards in Chicago, where they were slaughtering cattle, they would send the bones back over to China, have them made into tiles, and then send them back. Wow. Because China did not have enough bone to be able to produce what they were needing.
Wow, that's fascinating. Okay, yeah. So they moved from card, then probably bone, and you're saying bone and bamboo.
Or bamboo first, and then bone and bamboo.
Okay, and then the next iteration would have been what?
It stayed bone and bamboo, or, well, it just depends on the country. Some places, it became so popular that so many companies were making mahjong sets.
Okay.
So after the bone and bamboo or the bamboo, they went to, Parker Brothers, would have cardboard sets.
Wow.
Some are like a man-made stone that might have a metal cap on it.
Okay.
Some of them are made from a billiard company. They're made from that type of material that's inside the billiard ball.
Okay.
It just kind of skyrocketed whatever they could do.
Interesting. And then you got the Bakelite came along.
Yeah. Bakelite and Catlin came along. Catlin's also another.
What's Catlin?
It's another plastic.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. But again, it's plant based. It's not petroleum based.
Okay, and so you got the Bakelite. Then we keep going forward. Acrylic comes into play.
Lucite. Yeah,
Lucite. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That comes in the 60s and 70s. And they were, what I like about some of those sets is they are still hand carved. They're not machine produced.
Oh, so, interesting.
Yeah, that's my take on why I like a set, is because I love craft, and that's what draws me to certain sets.
That's interesting. Okay, what do you have? Do you have a favorite set? Is that like asking you which is your favorite child?
Yeah, it is. It really is. It really depends. Sometimes, I play with a regular group on Thursdays,
right.
And whenever they come over to my house when I'm hosting is I just bring out a different set every time.
Let me just do a little side note here. I have been privileged to go over to Rod's house, and we affectionately call his little room, I'm not going to say little room, but his big room downstairs, the Maj Mahal, because
Right.
it is something else with all of the sets beautifully displayed, but also other mahjong artifacts too you've collected.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about some of the other things that you have from the mahjong world.
Let's see. Anything that has to do with the National Mahjong League, whether it's I have the old cards that started back in 38s to 40s in there. There's a gray area, but I've 4 of each.
Do you have
year.
every year?
I do. I have 4 for each year.
You do? I didn't know that.
And then all different kinds of things that the National Mahjong League put out. I have
rule books,
tile or rack markers. There used to be a rack marker that you put up where your coins would go that said this rack belongs to, and it would have your name on it. Scorecards from different companies. I have artwork. I have china.
You have some music too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
About that. I thought that was really interesting.
Some of the movies back in the 20s would have different songs, and they would be trying to keep in track with what was popular and going on at the time. They would have different scores that would be set to music. One of them I tried to find, it was a silent movie. And after I bought the movie
a score of music to silent music to silent movie?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't speak, but there would be music.
Oh, of course. Okay, all right, that makes sense. Okay.
So I got that, but then after doing all that and researching it, they had cut that part out of the movie, so I didn't get to hear it. But I had a player piano roll that I was curious about. And a friend of mine had a friend who had it. So they played it for me and I got to hear it, that kind of stuff. But it's pretty much anything to do with mahjong. I go for it. Clothing. I have kimono robes, all kinds of stuff.
Wow. Do you play any other style mahjong, or do you strictly play national Americans?
Yeah, I just play National Mahjong League rules. I've played a little bit Chinese style. I don't know how the scoring works and all that. My partner's learned American very quickly, and then now he knows how to play Chinese, and his next goal is to learn Riichi, which is the Japanese version.
Yeah, shout out to Bobby. Bobby, I also met Bobby at the same time I met Rod, and he had only been playing about the same amount of time I had. I think he learned it and picked it up so fast. It's amazing.
He's good.
Yeah, he's very good. And you guys were just out in Vegas, right? Last week.
Yeah, for the World Championship. It's a very fun tournament to go to. Almost 300 people there.
That's crazy. And you said Bobby did pretty good. Let's tell everybody score. He wasn't in the money, but he was close. Right.
He scored a 510, and to be in the money, I believe, was 565.
Oh,
so not
amazing.
far out. But there's so many minute details. That could have been 20 people away from it.
We don't need to say that part.
Okay, sorry, never mind. Sorry, Bobby.
Way to go, Bobby. Yeah. So did you teach Bobby? How did he learn?
Well, I was going to I taught him some things about mahjong, and then I was going to a tournament in Palm Springs, and I gave him a couple books, and I said, "Here, read these, and if you have any questions, let me know." So then I came back from the tournament, and he had picked it up so quickly and had been playing online while I was gone. And then my Wednesday group was coming over, and I said, well, if you want to play, why don't you come play with us? And it was typical kind of beginner thing. I'm going to go to the same hand every time type of thing, but he far surpassed that.
Yeah.
That was in January, and by February he was already up to speed to be able to go to tournaments.
He's amazing. I really, and he's a lot of fun to play with. We do tease him. He likes to really throw us off for a loop. We call it a Bobby pass during the Charleston, when all of a sudden you'll get 8 Yeah, 3/8, and you're like, what? Wait, what?
Exactly.
Known as a Bobby pass.
Yes, they were in
Why is he doing this? And then he wins. You're like, he knows what he's doing. I don't know. I don't think it's in the strategy guide, but he does it.
Yeah, I had a woman in Las Vegas who passed me 3 wind directions, and she goes, "This goes against everything I've ever learned about mahjong." And I looked at it and I was like, "Oh, it's a Bobby pass."
That's exactly right.
Okay.
With those of us that know and love him, appreciate them. We understand them. That's great. Okay, so if you're not going to tell me your favorite, can you tell me some of the more unusual sets that you have in your collection that you're like, okay, this one's made out of this and that? Some of those.
Yeah, I've got, let's see, probably I'll start at the top. The one that is like the prized possession that if there was a fire, I'd probably grab it just because
Grab it, the poor Bobby.
it's worth so much money that, I could turn around, sell it, and start my collecting again. But it's a bone and ebony wood set that is fully carved, and it really is beautiful. There's so much carving all over the tiles that it can be very distracting for newer people. But that's probably one of my favorites. The bone and ebony is just beautiful together.
And how old would you say that? What year would you think that's from?
It would be the early to mid 20s. Most all of those sets that I have like that. I mean, it's sometimes it's kind of mind-boggling to be sitting in the room and playing and looking at the sets that are up in the cabinets and going, these are over 100 years old.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but so there's that set.
If your house is on fire, I'm running over there and helping you. I just want you to know.
Right.
Parking them under my arms.
Well, a friend of mine, she goes, if you die, the way this is going to work is I get a set, Bobby gets a set. I get a set, Bobby gets a set. It's like, okay, whatever. I told my niece, I figure she will probably be in charge of me or my estate when I'm gone. And I was just like, if you sell any of these in the garage sale, I will haunt you.
I will kill you. Yeah. Now I don't have anything that valuable, but I do. I'm a quilter, as you might know, and my machine embroidery. And in fact, I'm sitting in my messy room right now trying to block it. But I have told Brian, if I kick the bucket before you do, don't go in there and start selling stuff. Get my sister who knows what is in here, who knows how expensive these sewing machines are, this particular thing is. Don't just start putting it in the garage sale.
Yeah, exactly. Because some of my top set would probably sell for close to $15,000.
Wow.
And then they go all the way down to a $15 set I bought close to my cabin. So,
wow. So that's a good question. Where do you find your sets? Where do you find the ones you want to buy?
Probably 80% I've found on eBay.
Okay.
Another 5 to 10% on Etsy. And then the rest of it has just been going to antique stores, estate sales. That one set that I was talking about, I found at a estate sale that a friend of mine told me about. And so I went and I looked, and I knew it didn't have enough jokers, but it was just an incredible set. And I got it so cheap. Wow. It was incredible. I mean, I have been very fortunate when I'm looking that I find special things.
You have an eye for it too. I mean, that's
yes, yeah. I just recently found one on Facebook Marketplace that a woman was selling that belonged to her grandmother. And what really it's a beautiful set, the tiles, and they're good quality, but the case was just beautiful. It was leather gilded with some gold around it, and then it has white jade buckle on the top from an old piece, and then it has white jade pulls for the drawers. I mean, a really special set.
Now, it's interesting to me because part of the collecting is also acquiring like the boxes. I mean, I guess it's kind of like a doll collector. You want the box as well as the doll. Right. You want the box as well as the tiles. Is that true?
It is true. You like to have that. Some of the sets I have a long line of provenance that to know where everything came from, and then others you have no idea. Plus, when they started exporting tiles back here to the States. So they would say, make a set of mahjong tiles. Well, it didn't necessarily fit properly with the cases that were being made here in the United States. So, some people will switch things in and out. As a collector, I do sometimes, because I'll find something that's very special as far as tiles go, but the case that it's in does not reflect what's inside.
So how do you have yours? Like you keep them in the cases that they're in, and then you tag them, don't you? Don't you have did I see that when I was there? Like, so the tag gives you information on. I assume. I didn't even look at the tags, but where it came from, or that.
Yeah, most all the Bakelite Catlin sets that I have, some of the newer sets, I have a paper tag on it that explains what they are. Also, because being a collector, and you find something that's like, oh, these are pretty, but I don't have enough to play American style. Then, I start looking, trying to see with other collectors or online if I can find tiles to complete the set.
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, how do you do that? People say, where do you find the tiles to complete a set that makes it, so that you can't tell the difference between.
Right. It is long and hard work. Sometimes you'll have a collector that, you can say, hey, I'm trying to find these, or I'm missing 2 tiles. Do you have anything available? And especially from collectors, they're not cheap when you do it. Mm-hmm. Other times I'll see online a set that's a partial set, say there's maybe 20 tiles missing. And so I'll buy that, because usually you can buy them fairly cheap. And then I use them as orphan tiles. So then I'll look and see in my orphan tiles what I have to complete other sets.
Oh, that's cool. All right.
Yeah,
and then also that would be of value to you have those as something you can supply to somebody else potentially as well.
Yeah. And that's as a collector. And friends of mine or people are always asking if I have something to match. And if I do, I'll gladly share that with them, but it's a long process. You can have 2 identical sets that were made by the same maker in the same day, but then when you get them, they're different colors or they're different thicknesses, all different things like that. You have to measure things out, because if you have one tile that's off, it's like a marked card in debt.
Right. Okay. So what about there is a whole side industry too of people that do like stickers, things like that. What do you, like, if you find, let's say, like, so what do you do? Like, let's say you find a tile that matches your set and you want it to be a Joker. What do you do? What's your process?
I go online and I buy Joker stickers.
You do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There's several people that make them, and they're good quality stickers. They're
not your standard Avery labels.
No.
Yeah.
They're some of them are beautiful, mm-hmm. and depending on who you use, you can you can pick the image you want, you can pick the background color that you want, so it matches your tile. And the more choices you have, the higher the price goes for the stickers. But I've made older sets that are like that.
Do you ever have any carved? Do you ever, have you ever taken some and say, okay, try to match this with this?
Now what again?
Instead of a sticker, have it carved, actually carve it, or not?
I haven't done that yet.
Okay.
I only have a couple sets that I would do that with.
Okay.
One of them because the tiles, instead of them being the standard images, say one of the sets are koi fish. Well, okay. I'm never going to find a tile that's going to match that,
Right, right.
So in that case, you would have to have them carved by somebody. There are people that will do that. They're, again, not cheap.
Right.
You can spend up to $100 a tile, just depending.
Right. But actually, one of the connections that Rod and I have is Christine Whitman out of Denver area, and I actually met her because I had lost an 8 crack at the tournament that we were at, the very first tournament we were at, and And this was not an expensive set. It was, mass marketed Yellow Mountain import set, but I'd only had it for a couple months, and I didn't want a sticker. I mean, I had stickers, but I didn't want to put a sticker on it. And so I love this story, and I've told it so many times, but it just shows the generosity of the MahJong community. I put it out there on the Colorado MahJong Facebook group. I've lost this tile, and what did I do? And in very short order, the tournament director, who's now our friend Abby, she found somebody that was making jewelry, and that just happened to be making jewelry out of the exact tiles that I owned. And she had an 8-crack. Then I got connected with Christine is a master craftsman who makes,
she's incredible,
custom sets. She talks to you about what material you want them made out of, and then what do you want them to look like. And it's an amazing process. But I got connected with her, and I said, hey, would you carve me an 8-crack if I give you? And she said, sure. And she did it. She did it for me. And I mean, you can't tell the difference, the paint color, everything about it. You cannot tell the difference. And then after all of it was said and done, 2 months later, the bar, which had hosted the tournament, they found the 8-crack. And so I ended up with like 3 extra 8-cracks.
Right.
So now I always tell people my favorite tile is the 8-crack, because it was because of that I met so many lovely people. But
so unusual to have all that happen like it did.
It was amazing. It was just amazing. And like I said, so many people reached out and helped me. Call this person, look here. I'm really grateful. But you have a couple of Christine Whitman's custom made sets, don't you?
I do. Yeah.
We
had one that is, it's a beautiful set that she made for me that is white buffalo horn and mother of pearl. That is just spectacular. I mean, it really is beautiful.
Okay. Do you ever play with them or not?
I do.
You do?
But to reference back to Bobby, I think we played with it twice. And every time that we played with it, Bobby just plays like he wins like crazy.
Oh, so no, we're not playing with them anymore.
Right. So I told him, I said, I'm taking that set and putting it back in the deep, dark corner of my storage room.
That's
so
weird.
You can't play with it anymore. But that is just an incredible set. She made, she asked you all different details about like what you want your Joker tiles to be like. So I love the image of Happy Buddha. And so she made that for me and as my Joker tiles. And then, as a surprise for me, she made me another set of tiles because I collect Day of the Dead Katrinas. So she made another set of tiles that are Day of the Dead sugar skulls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She is an incredible artist, craftsman. Her skill is beyond belief.
It is beyond belief. And also she has beautiful custom wood racks that were just, look, you should check her out. I'll put her link in the show notes too, so you can find Christine. But now let me ask you, there's been a huge, I think, boon in the MahJong exposure in the last few years, right? And so we're seeing a lot of influx of new people. I'm one of them. And also there's a lot of kind of new, there's interest in, I'm going to call them more modern tiles. There's schools of thought on people who like the modern tiles and people who like the more classic faces. What is your opinion? Where do you fall on that?
Some of them I do like, that try to stay pretty true to the more classical images. Some of them I really do like. There's one now that, most people thought, probably would have thought I never would want it, but now I'm sitting here waiting for them to become available. But
what is that? Are you going to tell us?
It's from Two Sparrows, and it's called the Rabbit set, I believe. Something like that.
Okay.
But it's just the look of the tile I just really liked a lot. But there are some that go way too far as the images go, that kind of thing. And with some MahJong players, especially the more like Chinese people, part of it really kind of makes them angry
Oh,
about,
that's interesting.
yeah, that's, they don't feel like
Like,
companies are respecting their culture.
yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of a misappropriation of culture.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I've seen some really crazy things, and sacks of flour for flowers. Stuff
Right.
that. They'll come up with different themes, and Rod knows this. I'm looking for a good Christmas set now, and I do want something a little bit more cheesy than classic. I think on that one. Not so much to play with, but I just want it. I don't know why, but I just do. So
Yeah.
I'm on a hunt for that. But I as when I teach people, I always tell them, when you're beginners, you should probably start with learn with the classic faces, I think.
Agreed.
And I do think it can be a little confusing for people, and frequently you'll see in tournaments where they require all sets to be classic faces, just so you don't have to have that brain confusion of, is this a dot, or is this a self,
Yeah.
or whatever. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to be white sets. They can have a colored back, but they just have to be a traditional white set on the front.
Right. That makes it so much easier. And I did play in a tournament one time where the theme behind the tournament, it was just a very small mini. I had like 8 tables, and it was all sets were going to be non-classic. And I tell you what, it was fun, but your brain really had to work. I mean, there was a collegiate set, there was a Vietnamese set. I can't remember all the different ones, but it slowed your processing speed down for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's one reason. I mean, a lot of us play the game is because you have to be able to play. You have to be able to change your mind, pivot, or is what we say. So you couldn't be going left. All of a sudden, you have to go right. It's just the way the game goes. So I forgot my train of thought. Sorry.
No, but that is, I mean, it is a great, I remember when I first wanted to learn it, people would say to me, well, it's good for your brain, but it's hard to learn. And I don't know. I still don't think it's hard to learn. I mean, yeah, it's got some, when you first hear it, it's like drinking from a fire hose, I think. The first, and it doesn't seem to make much sense. But once you play it a couple of times, I think it starts to click.
Oh yeah, it's very true. It's once you learn. I've taught before. We taught my family a month ago, and you have to teach it and give them all the rules and the names of the tiles and everything else. But if you don't reinforce that with play, then you're going to start losing information. Yeah.
It is not a game, in my opinion, that you play, you learn, and then you come back in a couple months and you play again. You have to play it, and you have to play it pretty regularly to get the swing of it. Yeah,
I totally agree. I mean, we always joke around that once you take a mahjong lesson, you should play for the next 2 weeks every day.
Yeah,
A good friend of mine, when she first was learning how to play, when her mother taught her, she would set up a card table and have set up the wall like she was playing with 4 people, but she moved to every position.
Oh my gosh.
It helped her learn the tiles. When you're playing that 4 different hands, it's hard to remember
what you passed. Yeah, what the other one has.
Yeah. It was a great way for her to learn.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the benefits too of some of these online websites, Maj for Friends or Mahjong, what is it, realmahjong.com. A lot of people like those when they first start. I always caution players, though, don't get locked into them, because you forget some of the finer, they do the Charleston kind of for you. They're telling you what direction to go. You're not learning some of the etiquette and finer points of how you trade jokers and how you do some of those, do a joker exchange and that kind of stuff. Yeah, don't. It's good. It's a good way to get the thought process behind the card, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to learn the game by playing it online.
Yeah, it is. That's the National Mahjong League comes out with a new card every year, and that's majority of people that are seasoned players will automatically get online and start playing as much as they can just to reinforce that knowledge of the card.
Okay. Do you have a favorite hand this year?
Probably my favorite hand that I like this year is the wind directions with the 2005 or 2025.
Got it.
Yeah,
That's
I love that hand.
that's an interesting one because it's not a necessarily easy one to get.
No, but I don't know. I just enjoy trying to go for it and get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Last year there was a 369 hand that I really liked.
Line 2, 3, 6,
And I
9. I
don't
love
like
that one.
them this year. So
I get it. Yeah, I always say to people, I'm like, I can tell in tournaments when I get tired, I just pick like there's a couple of favorite hands, and I'll just whether I even have them in my hand or not. It's just like I know it. I'll just go for that because I can't focus on what I should be really doing.
yeah, that's in a tournament after you've played, 24 games or 20 games, and you're on your last round. Your brain can be mush.
Yeah,
So I pretty much go for closed hands and singles and pairs because you don't have to think about it. It's just what I draw. It's what
that's an interesting strategy because so many people avoid closed hands or singles and pairs because they're hard. But you're right. You don't have to worry about do I need to call something or not. You just have to pay attention if it's gone.
Right. And like in Las Vegas last weekend, my score was so bad that it didn't matter what I was going to go for. It was just get me through this.
Yeah. One of the things that I really enjoy about Mahjong too is if you're having a really bad game, when it's over, you don't have to reveal how crappy your hand really is. Like that you really weren't very close at all. It's just like, as people said at the tournament I was in a couple of weeks ago, they said it's the NBC rule. And I go, what's that? And like, nobody cares, right? When people start going, who had the 2 cracks or what were you going for? She's like, nobody cares. Just throw your tiles and go, which is.
Exactly. Or digging through the wall to see how close the next tile was. It would give you Mahjong.
Yeah. I watch people do that all the time. For people that have not played in tournaments and they say, "Oh, I'm scared to play in a tournament," what is your advice to them, or what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I understand the fear because when I first started playing, I heard horror stories about going to tournaments. And so, but I really wanted to try it. I wanted to see. So a very good friend of mine, Cindy Miller, said there was a Mahjong cruise that was coming up. And she said, why don't we do the cruise? Because it was all social. And then the last day they had a tournament. And we knew that there would be a lot of the East Coast women there for the tournament part. And so we thought, well, because typically East Coast women, they're known for being hardcore Mahjong players. So we thought, well, if we can keep up with them, and we went and we were like, oh, we can do this. It's for most tournaments, it's an hour to play 4 games, sometimes 50 minutes. And if you're fast enough to be able to do that, then you're ready to play.
Right.
You just go and play your game.
Well, I always say to my new players and even people that ask about playing in tournaments, it's like, you have to remember that pretty much 3 out of every 4 people are going to lose the Mahjong game, right? And they don't really, people don't care if you lose. What they care about is if you slow the game down. So you have to pay attention to that pace, which is frequently a function of teaching people and getting into the habit of know your discards before you're even drawing, not being where, I can't, it drives me crazy when people draw a tile and they look at it and then they rearrange. We all do it. We all have times when we do it for sure. Right. Like it's not, but it's just like, all right, you should pretty well know, these at least until towards the end. I got a lot of discards over here. So just get rid of one of those and then worry about how this other one fits in. And it's fine, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also with the tournament thing, you could also, so many, you in Texas, me here in Colorado, there are a bunch of small tournaments that are going on. I mean, sometimes 2 times a month, there's some little tournament going, and, the entry fee may be $40 to $50 to get in, but that's a good way to find out if you're fast enough. Some of those tournaments have tournament play, and then they also have social play, where if you want to just go and play social, you can do that. Right. And it's a good test.
And I always feel like, I'm not at the place in my life yet where I'm going to a tournament to win it. I mean, I'm not going to object if I want it, but when I go to a tournament, it's more about challenging myself to, can I keep up the pace? Just, it's a different kind of challenge than social play is for me. And I like that. Not to mention that I have met just some really incredible people at tournaments that I never would have met otherwise either. And there's some people that are a little prickly at tournaments.
Agreed. Definitely.
But for the most part, most people I find are really, lovely, and everybody's kind of there to have fun and enjoy, and hopefully,
Oh yeah.
For me, hopefully win a raffle prize. That's my goal. Can I win a raffle prize?
Yeah, that's usually by midday on the second day. I'm like, okay, I need to start buying raffle prizes because this score is not going to do anything.
This score ain't going to get there very far.
Yeah, it's always good to test yourself and just see. I've had friends of mine that I play with here that was like, come on, let's go do this small tournament. You can see. And a couple of them were like, oh, I had a great time. The other two are like, it's not really my thing.
Yeah. I've seen that too. And now let me just sit there and think. I heard you mention, I know you have a Tuesday night group. I know you have a Wednesday regular group. I know you have a Thursday group. What other days of the week do you have filled up with groups? Or is that it for now?
Well, my Wednesday, Thursday group are the same group. We were Wednesday, then we switched to Thursday.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I think we're going to be switching back to Wednesday again.
Okay.
It had to do with one of the women in the group. She was a golfer, and she got accepted into the league here in Colorado Springs. So she wanted to play on Thursdays instead of Wednesdays.
Oh, okay. All right. I was sitting there thinking, man, how many days a week do you play?
Yeah, you play in a high stakes game, and that's fun. Once or twice a month. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. And for high stakes, usually it means 10 times the value of the hand. Is that right? Is that how y'all do it? Or
no,
that's not how you do it.
Double. Yeah.
Double. Okay.
I mean, there are high stakes games that are like what you're talking about.
Yeah. My sister Sandra does a high stakes, and they do, instead of 25 cents, it's a $2.50 hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we'll double it. And then there are certain things that will cause the points
accelerate.
Or double. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been so much fun. I've really enjoyed it. And I thank you so much for your time. I know I had to drag you on to do this, but
right.
I think you have been one of just such an inspiration to me. You encourage me, you make me laugh. And it doesn't hurt that you have Bobby to bring along because Bobby's the best hugger around, and so it's just such a joy. And you really your history and your insight of the mahjong world and the tiles, and I just feel really privileged that I've gotten an opportunity not to just not only to see your room, but to get to call you my friend. So
well, that's so much of it. Mahjong is social. And you've been a wonderful addition to our friendship. So
thank you. And I'll see you next week in Houston, where we're going to be doing a mahjong, a destination mahjong. That's right, right? Destination mahjong. They always host really great events, and we'll be there next week. And I'll see you there at the mahjong table.
I look forward to it.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening, everybody. And, keep speaking your truth out loud, because gritting your teeth gives you TMJ. Bye-bye, everybody.